So, today I'm going to be reviewing A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. So, if you don't know what this book is, it is a 2019 YA mystery thriller book, and the story focuses on a young girl called Pip Fitzamoby who, for an EPQ project, decides to look into a closed case of a murder that happened in her town 5 years previous. Now, Pip just wants to look into this, write about it, and it's kind of shown on the first page of the book that she's been given strict instructions to be careful with this because it is still quite a heavy topic for some people who live in the town. Like, the family of the murdered girl lives in the town, the family of the murderer lives in the town, and she is under direct instructions not to talk to any of them and just to be very cautious about how she proceeds with this. Naturally, she ignores everything that they say. And the story follows her looking into this murder case, finding some inconsistencies and problems, and realising that maybe the young man, Sal, who was accused of murdering this girl, was perhaps innocent. And the story follows Pip trying to then work out who the killer is to get justice for Sal and find out who actually did it. And the story was really interesting. I can't really say much because it's all spoiler territory and I really want to avoid that. But it was such a fascinating book. It's so mysterious and it keeps you guessing from the first page. It's really good. And to be honest, I'm finding myself wanting to reread it because after getting to the end and knowing what happens and the outcome of the story, you kind of want to reread it just to see if there's anything you missed. Like, as soon as I hit the end of the book, I realised that there were a few red herrings that I picked up on. I was like, right, that's clearly it. That has to be it. It wasn't it. But there was so many like small things like that, and it was just so well written, and Holly Jackson did such a good job of actually getting all of that information out there. Like, it was so clever to actually drop hints and drop false hints. And I know it sounds silly to say something like that because that is the point of a mystery book like this, but I haven't seen it done recently as well as it was done here. Like, this book kind of took me back to like the Agatha Christie dropping red herring hints, stuff that I've never seen in a contemporary thriller or mystery. And I don't really know why it amazed me that much that was in there, but it was just so good and it was written so well. And I can't really complain about anything in this book. It was a definite 5-star for me. Originally, I will admit, throughout, I did say I wasn't sure where I was going to rate it because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. But I found that it was just a bit too easy for me to put down. Like, I was reading this book and then decided I just fancy going and watching an hour of TV. So I was more than happy to just put the book down and go and do other things. Watching TV, doing some work, going for my daily walk, doing anything else but read. And I was quite surprised by that because as much as I was enjoying it, it clearly wasn't hooking me in and keeping me enticed all the way through. I did this as a buddy read with Jade from paperback to hardback, and then myself, Jade, and Brooke from Brooke's Books were actually going to read the sequel together. So when I was talking to Jade and Brooke about this book, I was just saying I don't understand why I'm not gripped by it as much as I was. And I basically ended up saying it depends on the ending. If the ending is as good as it can be, and I couldn't think of anything better, then it was 100% 5-star. But if I felt the ending was weak, then it would drop down to 4. Brooke assured me it was fantastic all the way through, and she was so right. It was such a well-written book. It was so interesting to learn about these characters. It was fun to question whether you could trust people or who you could trust. I will say not even a criticism, the only thing that I was a bit like, really, about was Pip is very, very insane when it comes to adding people to a person of interest list. She will just shove anyone on there for anything. If someone says something weird or looks at her funny, she's like, oh, you're on my list now. and it's so like dramatic. Pip is a very dramatic character, and as much as I read it, I kept thinking, right, well, if she's this dramatic, it's not right. Like, she's annoying. But then very quickly on, I realised she's not annoying. She's very dramatic, and the only reason I'm feeling a bit attacked is because I'm that dramatic. I will put someone on a person of interest list just because they said something crazy, because it's best to do that than to miss them off the list and risk missing it out. But I just can't praise this book enough. It's a bit crazy. Obviously, I've not really gone into much detail and I feel quite bad, but I feel like any detail that I give will give a plot point away. It might not be a major plot point that I give away, but I don't want to give any plot point away. I want your first read of this to be as amazing as mine was, because I didn't know anything about this when I went into it. I knew it was about a murder case that happened, and I knew that the case was closed, and I knew that she was going to start investigating by herself. And that is literally the extent of my knowledge. And wow, it was just great. So please get to know everything. Very good book. Really loved it. Very heartbreaking moment. If you've read the book, you will know what the moment was. It was very heartbreaking. I cried quite a few times throughout this book, actually. So yeah, great book. Loved it. I'm going to cut the review now because really, I can't really say anything else. And I really want to just go into a lot of detail and chat spoilers, but I can't do it. So I won't do it. I'm going to call it quits. Would recommend, 100%, 5-star read. Definitely want to read again. Yeah, so if you have not read this book, I would definitely say give it a go. But please remember, it's a YA mystery book and not like a dark thriller book for adults. I just feel like I have to point it out just in case people go into it expecting it to be a really dark adult-based thriller. It is not, but I loved it anyway. It's my genre. Of course I loved it. So that is it from me. I post every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, and then during this time intermittently throughout the week. So until next time, I will see you later.